How are you feeling? This is a simple question that most of us get asked on a regular basis. A simple answer should be fitting for a simple question, right? Usually we would respond with good or fine, but emotions can be difficult to navigate, especially at a time like this. All of us in this class, including our instructor, have some significant relationship to other people, whether we are a child, a sibling, a parent of animals or children, an educator, a friend, etc. We all know what it feels like to see someone experiencing happiness or anger or fear. During this pandemic, we have been separated from a lot of the people around us, whether we are standing 6 feet apart, wearing masks, or speaking through a screen. We have needed to learn to adapt and learn many things, like how to communicate, how to focus, how to learn, and even how to feel. I have personally struggled with maintaining a healthy mindset. I find myself getting frustrated with online school, getting angry at the people I love, losing sight of my inherent optimism, and even struggling with getting out of bed. One of the most difficult things that I've had to deal with is the loss of life around us. Deaths due to COVID-19 have turned into more of a statistic to me and less of an understanding of the loss of lives. Feeling empathy is difficult because it requires being vulnerable and feeling the pain of others, but it is extremely important. Today, I would like to inform you on the importance of understanding, realizing, and practicing empathy, and why empathy is so crucial during a pandemic. I'd like to begin with the subject of mental health. There has been a significant increase in mental illness during the pandemic. In June of 2020, the CDC conducted a study of mental health, substance use, and suicide ideation during the pandemic. They conducted a wide-reaching survey and found that over 40.9% of respondents reported at least one adverse mental or behavioral health condition, including symptoms of anxiety disorder or depressive disorder, symptoms of a trauma and stressor-related disorder related to the pandemic, and having started or increased substance use to cope with the stress or emotions related to COVID-19. The American Psychiatric Association defines mental illnesses as health conditions involved in changing emotions, thinking, or behavior, or a combination of these. There are many misconceptions and stigmas about mental illness. These misconceptions can be harmful because it influences people to judge others based on their mental state at a certain time. It is extremely important that people understand just how many people are out there who are mentally affected by this pandemic. Now let's look at how empathy can affect a person's mental health. Empathy is more important now than ever because of the mental, physical, and emotional strain put on us by the pandemic. The Community Reach Center, a leading Denver mental health clinic, defines empathy as the ability to put yourself in someone else's position, both intellectually and emotionally. This is important because when human beings experience empathy, it helps to provide a sense of belonging, and it alleviates that feeling of being alone in the world. The Community Reach Center says that the connecting power of empathy benefits both the person who is struggling as well as the person who is listening and responding. They say that the person that is being helped can feel lighter and more empowered, while the act of helping to understand someone can feel very similar. Although practicing empathy can be very difficult, it is extremely important during a pandemic because most people are physically and emotionally isolated. Due to the stay-at-home orders, the mandated mask wearing, and social distancing, everyone is feeling extremely isolated. Reaching out to your loved ones and empathizing with those around you as we adapt to living our lives online can be more beneficial now than ever, because for some, it is all they have. Actor Alan Alda says that the thing that worries him the most is that we seem to have a lowering of our compassion for one another, but not so much compassion as empathy. And the way he thinks of empathy is not as compassion. Compassion is feeling sorry for somebody, but empathy is getting a reading, as well as you can, of what the other person is going through, what they may be suffering from, and it's important to think about them as clearly as you think about yourself and protecting yourself. So how do we learn to apply empathy in our lives? There are many ways to practice empathy so that we can relearn how to connect with others during this time. Learning to cope with your own personal stress can better equip you to help others because you will have more energy and time to devote to those around you. Healthy ways to cope with the stress include deep breathing, stress, meditating, as well as healthy eating, exercise, and a good night's sleep. Putting our bodies through so much stress makes it more difficult for us to stay level-headed and have the energy to reach out to others. Helping others cope with stress with phone and video calls can help you and your loved ones feel less lonely or isolated, according to the CDC recommendations. Empathy is something of enormous value to human life, but it is something that needs to be prioritized and connected to. Empathy, although difficult, drives us to connect with one another. Empathy can help us grow to understand those around you, as well as ourselves, and in a time when we are all scared, lonely, and unsure, empathy can be the one thing that gets us through this. I encourage all of you to think about how practicing empathy can help you connect with someone in the future, as well as how you wish to empathize with the things you might struggle with. Brené Brown said that empathy is communicating that incredibly healing message of you are not alone. Thank you.